What is going on, guys? Just wanted to come on here to make my recap for this week. Um, and kind of, I did write some notes on some things that I didn't notice while backtesting, that I wanted to go over with you guys. Let me put it up here. So, I'll just kind of break down what we did last week in terms of stats, and yeah, I would say I would say that a lot of trades have been taken, right? A lot of trades have been taken. And ideally, though a lot of trades is a good thing, but finding the good trades is a better thing, right? Taking a lot of good trades rather than taking a lot of trades kind of makes more kind of makes it's better in terms of um improving the win rate, right? If we're taking A plus setups constantly, right, instead of taking these lower time frame setups, we're more likely um we're more likely to um we're more likely to increase win rate and and our RR begins to stretch because we're looking from a higher time frame perspective. Um but the thing is that yeah, a lot of trades have been taken. Um but yeah, definitely a lot of trades have been taken. I'm unable to see how many trades were taken. Um, can't. Yeah. Anyways, if I go journal, yeah, I don't know. Still figuring out this app, but anyways, um, yeah. So for the week of last week, we definitely were all over the place. We did have some solid trades, a lot of losses, and then we start to recoup, and we start to balance itself out, and then we start to win, and then we start to have that drop off again. And I think this has to do with this has to do with time. So whether because I'm not checking whether we're affected by news or not, I'm just taking as many trades as I can, following the strategy. Um, and this could be accounting for those dead hours. So after those kill zones, when market opens, and things like that. So I'm just taking as many trades as I can, right? Following the strategy to to see what works and what doesn't work. But now I'm going to be focusing, which I'll just write down here on my notes. The week beginning on 4th of Monday, which t- this marks May. We are going to be focusing on A plus setups, right? So instead of taking a lot of trades, we are going to be waiting for high time frame POIs, 15-minute, right? And I'll this will make sense because I've written some notes about what I've noticed um during the week of last week, right? So for this to be effective, I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong myself, right? Where I'm going wrong. How can we increase the win rate, right? And 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 kind of some things that I've noticed while back testing. Oh, I said that already, but yeah. Yeah, so account balance is 50, around 50K. We ended up going almost break even for the whole week. Like ideally, we want to be in profits, right? Um, I get to the point where I make a lot, but then I also lose a lot, and then I end up in a break even, and it jumps back up. So I'm unable to. Oh, sorry, that was a bug. Um, I'm unable to consistently um have a steady curve, right? If you see my mouse right here, we're unable to have a steady curve going up. We're up and then we're down. we're in the middle somewhere, we drop down a little bit, and then we go up again. So it's kind of like, how do we get it? So we're having bigger winning days and smaller losing days, right? How do we get it like that? And um, that's why I've written some notes on my phone on what the things I kind of noticed. But again, we ended up actually making a little. So we ended up with a little bit at the end of the week. Win rate was 59.09, so we're not near that 70% yet, but we are somewhat there, right? We know shit's working, right? Because we're we are better, or like we're not better, but like our win rate is not in the 30s or 40s, right? Where we're on a constant losing basis, right? So we have a system, right? We have a system, and it works, right? We just need to make it better, so we're able to achieve that 70% win rate, for 2 or 3 consecutive months. Therefore, I'm confident enough to then get back on the charts, back on a funded, and then give it another try, right? Following the rules and things like that. With risk to reward, I wasn't really focused on risk to reward. It was just basically strategies. So based on the draws, what did we have in front of us, and what did we have at the time, right? Following that weak structure. Um, but yeah, that kind of goes over last week. Yeah, last week we had a good day. We had a losing day, we had a big day again, and then we had a big losing day, and then we end up breaking even at the end, on Friday there. So again, it's one of those things where I'm trying my best to kind of figure out what's working and what's not working, but it's also kind of hard to figure out what's working and what's not working. So but what I can see from this data here is that we are taking a lot of trades, right? Our win rate, sorry, is in the 59s, right? So that means that it could increase if we are taking higher time frame trades, right? If I'm executing on the same thing on the higher time frame, um, I'm able to cut down all this unnecessary setups, and that way, when we do lose, when we have a losing day, we're able to correct that curve, right, and be straight on winning days again, right? Having that 70% uh, win rate, right? Having that there, making sure that we are, um, trying to hit that 70%, for consecutive months. Therefore, I will allow myself to then get back on a funded, using the tools and using the mindset that we have gained from backtesting. We're able to kill it, right? Pass it, get some payouts, right? All part of the journey, things like that. So, covering on the notes that I had, that I noticed last week, was that a sweep, 5 minute or 15 minute with high time frame directional bias, right? So the first step that we need is a sweep, right? 5 minute. Well, I'm more considering on the 15-minute time frame with a 15-minute POI. That way we're able to cut out even more low time frame trades if I'm sticking to the 15-minute and above, right? So we need a 5/15 minute sweep with high time frame direction and bias, right? So if we're bullish on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, ideally we are looking for sweeps of lows, right, on the lower time frame, confirmation, and then entering again, right? The sweep is the reset of structure. We either break those lows and continue down to those lows, or we um or we sweep those lows and we continue to go back up following the high time frame structure. And yeah, which kind of brings me on to my second point, which is executions on the lower time frame. A first break as a first break letting us know that um a first break letting us know that structure has been broken. Right now we need a confirmation, right? And since we are using the 1 minute, very volatile, the 1 minute, we need a second break, right? We need a retest, then a second break to confirm, and we enter on the second break, stops above um the highs that stops above the highs that were made before breaking those lows, right? Or highs, whatever it is. So if we're bullish on the 1 hour, 4 hour, we'll get that sweep on the 5 minute or 15 minute. We get into a 15 minute, 5 minute fair value gap. We get a structure break on the 1 minute, right? And to confirm, we need a retest and then break of that second structure again. And again, I will stress this out, that structure needs to be formed, right? It cannot be one candle break or two candle break. And we need to have a solid pullback showing that those highs or lows are protected, right? Showing that price cannot go below those highs and lows. And then a confirmation with a candle closure above those recent highs that were put in before we had that retest, right? And that way I'm safely to enter knowing that we have confirmation that the 1 minute is now in bullish, right? We had that 15 minute sweep, right? Following that the high time frame is within bullish structure, right? So I'm happy that now the 1 minute we form structure on the 1 minute, we form second structure on the 1 minute, confirmation, we enter, right? So that's the second point. The third point is lower time frame overall structure, 15 minute/5 minute. When does structure truly turn bearish or bullish, right? So I see that, yeah, we have high time frame bias, but the 5 minute and the 15 minute is ripping, right? So if I get on the charts, right? If I get on the charts and I'm seeing that the 5 minute and the 15 minute, so I think these need to correlate with each other, right? If I see the 5 minute in bearish and the 15 minute in bullish, right? I should be thinking to myself that the 5 minute is only retracing on the 15 minute time frame. So we should be looking for a 15 minute POI or low or high to be broken for us to take longs or shorts, right? So if the 15 minute is bullish, right, and the 5 minute is bearish, the 5 minute is only retracing on that 15-minute time frame. So I just want to stress that to you guys, that the lower time frame overall structure, 15 minute/5 minute, when does structure truly turn bearish or bullish, right? So though we have those 1 hour/4 hour bias, right? The 15 minute could be ripping to chase some sort of 1 hour high or 1 hour low, 4 hour high, 4 hour low. So ideally, we just want to catch the continuation, right? We don't want to get caught up and chop. We don't want to we don't want to wait till we hit a high time frame POI, right? To where price ends up sweeping higher, and us having to wait for structure to flip, right? Because once we enter a 1 hour POI, right? Ideally, if we're bullish on the 5 minute and 15 minute, we need at least the 5 minute to turn bearish before we start looking for shorts, right? If we get a sweep on the 1 hour time frame, and that's something I want to stress, time frame alignment, and that's something that I'll get into later on as I backtest, is that time frame alignment. So 1 hour with the 5 minute, 15 minute with the 4 hour. Ideally, we should be following the 15 minute structure on that lower time frame, right? The 15 minute should be the lowest time frame that we go to, right? 5 minute as confirmation, continuation, whatever, and 1 minute for entries. That's it. And which brings me on to my fourth point. Focusing on the lower time frame too much, should be waiting for a high time frame POI, 15 minute plus, 15 minute plus, which leads to lots of trades being taken, being break even, right? So this is what I mentioned before at the start of the video, that we end up breaking even last week because we're constantly taking trades, the same setup, right? But on the lower time frame, right? And this is the result, us being break even, because we know it works, but we just need to filter out the bad trades being taken, right? And I hope this is the way, or this is how I think is the way to get it done, is us filtering out the bad trades by sticking to the high time frame, us being in the 15-minute plus POIs, right? Again, which leads to us taking a lot of trades and being break even, right? So ideally, to try and reach that 70% win rate, we need to take more A+ setups, right? And this could be done by skipping up a time frame. So us doing the same thing but on a higher time frame. That way we're able to filter out all the lower time frame noise, which I'm happy to do. So that's something that I'll be looking forward to testing this week coming. And yeah, that kind of wraps it up for today's video. Again, I just want to go over notes for the coming week, starting on the 4th. So today's the 3rd, starting on the 4th, that focusing on A plus sit-ups, right? So using the rules that using what we've learned from last week, we are gonna back test this week and see how we go from there, right? So if we see that we get an increase, that means we're doing something right. We need to keep doing the same thing. What am I realizing? What am I like? What do I think I'm doing right? What do I think I'm doing wrong? We need data on the way we trade, right? And this is how we're gonna do it, right? So we're not limited to time frames. Oh no, sorry, we're not limited to sessions or when we can trade. We're just able to get on and fucking trade and kill it, right? And kill it. That's what we need to do. So those are my notes from last week. We have notes for this week that we're focusing on A plus setups using the notes from last week. So that means that trades will only be taken from 50-minute POIs, right? To see how we go with that. I'll be back testing that, just to see how we go from there using a high time frame with lower time frame confirmation, which is the 5-minute and the 1-minute. But ideally that 15-minute time frame only, right? So if we know the 15-minute works, and which we'll know, right, by back testing, right, we should be easily getting 70% plus win rate every single week, right? We will have bad weeks, but again, it's one of those things where I want to be in the 70% at least every for consecutive months for me to be comfortable to say that I'm ready to get back on a funded, and we should be able to kill it, right? We shouldn't be able to fucking top tick, right? Like profits and then fucking lose it all, and then start to make up, and then just keep following the same fucking curve, right? Of us being really up, we set in there high, then put in a fucking low, right? Then we break even, and then we make a low again, and then we fucking unable to break these highs, when unable to fucking be profitable, right? So yeah, I mean, fucking, I don't know, a lot of swearing going on. I apologize for that, but this is the shit that we gotta do. Falling off the fucking mountain a lot of times, but I'm back up, ready to fucking climb that shit again and again until we crack it. I know it feels like I'm not working as hard as other people, but I want to take this at my pace, because taking it at a pace means that I'm able to absorb as much information without skipping anything. So if I'm taking my time and understanding and trying to figure out where I'm going wrong, I'm able to absorb more information. That's why I like to take my time, and this fucking job as well is it's my career. It's really important to me, and yeah, it's important that I focus on that too. So again, um, till we make it, boys, till we make it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day or night, wherever you guys are from. Good night or good morning, and I will see you guys in the next checkout video. Peace.